Hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your source for the finest two-way propaganda brought to you by TNVC.com. Today, let's start with a little follow-up from that story we talked about on Wednesday about the new gun merchant codes for credit card processors introduced by the ISO. Gun rights advocates were freaking out that it's some kind of backdoor registration, and the control freaks were all high-fiving each other about, well, exactly the same thing. But Visa released a statement basically saying that's not how it works, that's not how any of this works.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Visa says the merchant codes are not designed to track gun sales, wouldn't work very well to do so, and should not be used that way even if they could be. Visa points out they wouldn't be able to see specifically what a consumer bought regardless of the merchant code. So as I mentioned a couple of days ago, a shotgun bought at Walmart wouldn't have the new gun store code applied to the transaction, while a mountain bike bought at a pawn shop might have the code. But the real gem here is how Visa didn't just stop at making a technical clarification. They took a clear, ethical stand against being used as a political tool. We do not believe private companies should serve as moral arbiters. Asking private companies to decide what legal products or services can or cannot be bought and from what store sets a dangerous precedent. Further, it could be an invasion of consumers' privacy for banks and payment networks to know each of our most personal purchasing habits. Visa is firmly against this. They were also quite clear they would not tolerate partner institutions using the code to deny sales. Our network does not allow any financial institution member to deny transactions for the purchase of legal goods or services based on which MCC they fall under. As always, the full statement is leaked down there in the doobly-doo, so definitely check it out, but it's way more base than I expect from the typical corpo types. TNVC.com! Night vision devices for people who need gratuitous amounts of seeing in the dark. With all new flavors like sour apple green phosphor, white cherry phosphor, and beer! Seeing! You'll be good at it! Science, night vision, science, night vision. TNVC night vision is made with real dark matter. You'll be so good at seeing, you'll be able to see through time. So, women in the Kingdom of Saud are now allowed to own guns. Who knows, in another 100 years, maybe they'll be allowed to have an opinion. Joking aside, this isn't exactly a massive win for gun rights. It's just that the bored wives of wealthy men started taking up shooting sports during the most disappointing apocalypse ever, and now the kingdom allows women to take their guns to competition on their own. It's not like they're being allowed to carry guns to defend themselves from their male attackers. But hey, any step toward the light is a step away from darkness. It's not surprising that angry control freak Karens in North Carolina got upset about a peewee football raffle for an AR, but it is pretty funny how their temper tantrum only brought more attention and funding to the boosters, including an attorney as a corporate sponsor who also offered to help with IRS filing changes pro bono if the massive influx in funding requires it. Okay, I guess maybe they're not all bad. If you want to help poke the woke and flip the East Henderson youth football and cheerleading team some quatloos, I'll leave a link down there in the doobly-doo, as always, for their Facebook page. Dick Heller has stuck it to DC again, and just a couple of days ago, they lifted their 20-round limit on the number of rounds concealed carry permit holders are allowed to carry. 2 separate appeals courts have denied motions for preliminary injunctions against the ATF rule on receivers and frames. The cases will still go forward, of course, but the rule remains in effect. Kind of. Not that F-Troop will have the huevos to take anyone to court for violating their rule unless they've got them dead to rights on a bunch of other charges. At the same time, they do have the audacity to blatantly disregard felonies committed in broad daylight by the crackhead son of a sitting president, and a federal judge just denied the FOIA request regarding the investigation, so no one is likely to ever be held accountable. In case somehow you missed it, Hunter Biden is like a cringier, less talented Hunter S. Thompson, and while he was all cracked out and banging his dead brother's wife, he bought a gun and lied on the 4473. None of this would have come to light except his brother's widow stole the gun and threw it in a dumpster across the street from a school. Allegedly, I guess. but it's all very public and not remotely disputed. The Secret Service got involved in the investigation, and they are accused of disappearing that 4473 Biden signed. The ATF says they investigated, but no charges were filed against Hunter. The problem is there is literally no way Biden did not break the law because his crack use and gun purchase are both very public and contemporaneous. The federal judge recognized the significant public interest for the FOIA request, but nevertheless maintained Biden's interest in privacy outweighs the public's interest. Of course, that position is entirely illogical, and no, I'm not trying to dismiss the rights of the individual, but Hunter Biden is not a private individual. He has been extremely uncomfortably public about his adventures, and I don't think anyone would object to redacting his personal information from the docs either, especially anything that hasn't already been revealed. The public's only interest here is in who it was that made the call to cover for the nomenclatura. Before we get to your moment of zen, I just want to remind you to check out the Bulletproof Workshop hosted by my friend and hero, Jeff Gonzalez. Jeff is a combat veteran, respected instructor, and genuinely one of the nicest people you will ever meet. The Bulletproof Workshop is about improving human performance and features guests from all walks of life. New episodes every Friday. Today's guest is Eric Hung, founder of Pew Pew Tactical. As always, we'll link down there in the doobly-doo, so why not check out what Jeff's up to when you're finished here. And now, for your moment of zen.
You can put some duct tape on that hot spot, especially around the heel. That seems to be an issue for people because I think they're going to bug out with their brand new boots on.
My hot spot's usually on the ball of my feet.
Right. More lube.
Yeah.
What are you doing, step bro?
Oh, you on your foot.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Hey friend, do you like pews and pew-related things? Do you want to help us keep delivering you pure, uncut American pew propaganda at the low, low price of $3.99? We literally couldn't make this show if it weren't for the generous support of TNVC.com, purveyors of the finest non-GMO night vision devices handcrafted from fine Corinthian leather in the old world style. They also have mounts, lights, training, swag, and all sorts of other barrel-aged single malt gear to make you the bump in the night. And remember, if you aren't subscribed to our channel, you make puppies cry and Captain America is disappointed. I love you. Well, she's a great big fat person. Puts the night vision on its head. Also gets the, I don't know.